having that loss, Ashley, at such a young age, what helped you survive those early years, both emotionally and mentally?
Basic things such as self-esteem. I didn't have that. God literally just saying, Ashley, try this way. And I just ignored him for so long, to the point where I was on my knees saying, I'll do whatever you want me to do, not to live this life. I learned to put aside the things that tried to hold me back. I just woke up one day and I just said, you know what? I'm enough. I can do this. I can move forward. It starts in your mind. It was a mindset shift for me.
Hello and welcome to another episode and another season of the Woman Witness podcast on the Woman Witness TV network. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. Here on this platform, we bring to you voices of dynamic women that are out there making a positive impact in their lives, in their family, and the community around them. Women of resilience, women of faith, women who have battled through something and they're strong enough, bold enough to turn around, grab the hand of another sister, and be a witness. Today, I'm excited to sit down with my special guest, Miss Ashley Reese, a devoted mother, passionate educator from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with a strong background in curriculum development and program management. Ashley is committed to creating meaningful learning experiences for both students and educators. But behind her professional success lies deeply a personal story. Ashley lost her mother at just age 2, and her stepmother at 16, and her father by 18. For years, she battled loneliness and sought out validation in the absence of family. In this powerful conversation, Ashley will share how her journey through grief, faith, and therapy has helped her to reclaim her identity and redefine her worth. So today we'll dive in and talk a little bit about motherhood, education, and overcoming grief, and trusting God when all else feels broken. I am so excited to introduce you, my guest today, Miss Ashley Reese. Hi, Ashley. Welcome to the WOW. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am amazing. Ashley, we spoke a little bit before we pressed record and just talked about how heartfelt and compelling your story is. And I'm so excited that you have came here to share it with the women here at the Well. So welcome.
Thank you.
Ashley, you have an unimaginable story, an unimaginable journey to get to where you are today. I just want to just stop and ask you just to share a little bit about how did this shape who you are today? How did your journey shape the woman that you are today?
My journey pretty much shaped the woman I am today because I learned to put aside the things that tried to hold me back. So the loss of parents, not having a support. I just woke up one day and I just said, you know what? I'm enough. I'm enough. I can do this. I can move forward with or without family, with or without friends, because my friends were dropping out the same time as I chose to change and to start moving in faith. Everyone just fell aside. And then I just said, that's enough. And I am enough. So I made the assertive effort to go to therapy. I made the assertive effort to leave a relationship that I knew wasn't enough for me because I knew God wanted more. So I chose to leave, and then I chose to follow God. So it was like a step process that I had to go through.
Yeah.
And it was exactly what scripture says. It starts in your mind. It was a mindset shift for me. And as soon as I got that slightest inkling, I was gone. I excelled. So that's pretty much how my journey started. But it started with baby steps. You know, it started with God literally just saying, Ashley, try this way. Ashley, go this way. And I just ignored him for so long, to the point where I was on my knees saying, I'll do whatever you want me to do, not to live this life.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I couldn't agree with you more. It definitely starts with the mindset. Having that loss, Ashley, at such a young age, And it like kind of what you were saying with steps, like different stages of it. What helped you survive those early years, both emotionally and mentally?
Well, initially, I believe that even from a young age, I was stuck in survival mode. I always had to survive. I always had to latch on to the person next to me and kind
Mm.
of mimic their life in order to feel as if I was progressing in my life. So it started with latching onto other people. And then I started to step away and say, well, wait a minute. Why am I latching? I can do this by myself. So
Mm.
I literally turned the opposite way and started my own journey. And it took for me to step back and say, like I said before, I'm enough. And losing my mom at the age of 2, a lot of people who have their parents, they're not aware of what that feeling looks like. So basic things such as self-esteem, I didn't have that. I didn't have my mom to put that into me. Image, loving yourself, how
Mm.
you treat, how do you date, just simple things.
Yeah.
The story of my life is non-existent. So I had to learn that in therapy, how to do all of those things all over again, like starting off as an infant and crawling. So I had to learn that through therapy, not having a mother and then having a stepmother, but knowing at a young age, this isn't my mother. So it was a disconnect there. And then losing my mother, then losing my stepmother, then losing my father. It was just nonstop trauma as a kid over and over and over. So overcame it. It was very difficult. And, being raised in a Black household, we don't talk about therapy. So,
No.
once you lose your parent, everyone taps you on the shoulder and they say, are you okay? And of course, as a
Yeah.
child, you're like, yeah, I'm okay. I got
Right.
this.
Yes. Right.
Child, you learn to internalize it because you don't want to appear to look weak. You don't want to appear to not have it together. You have friends, you have a social circle you have to keep up with, but not knowing that when fast forward to 30, 35 years old, all of that trauma you buried is going to spill out now because you have a daughter. So it's like, do I stop
Mm.
this train or do I get on this train and just let it coast and then
Yeah.
turn over trauma to my daughter. So it
Mm.
has been a very long journey. And I finally can say that I'm proud of Ashley and I'm proud that I was able to hold on the way I did and to get through that part of my life.
I love that. And you're absolutely right on so many things that you said, talking about like, not dealing with it in our community. Can you talk about that turning point where you begin to shift, that your mindset began to change and you shifted from surviving to healing?
I can tell you exactly when it was. It was December 31st, 2019, because I had my
Mm.
daughter. I had my daughter on
Um,
December 31st. So as they brought her in and I'm unwrapping her and I am counting fingers and toes to make sure she has it all. And when I picked her up and I looked at her, I was like, wow, I'm a mom now. It didn't register it. It just makes me tear up a little bit. But I was like, I'm a mom now and I can't let her go through what I went through as far as trauma. So I have to be better. Even if dad is not better and he's still stuck at where I used to be,
mm,
that's okay.
mhm,
So I was okay with dad being stuck at where I used to be, but I knew for me, I have to make an example. I want my daughter raised in a church. I want my daughter to see what love looks like. I want to teach my daughter about self love, self esteem, and self care. So when I had her and I looked at her, I don't know if this is a mother's intuition or something just snapped and said, that's it. You're done. I put
mm,
aside all, as they say biblically, all of my childish ways, those got set
yeah.
aside. I just stood up and said, I'm a mom and I have to change for my daughter. And that's exactly what happened. But it was literally when I saw her and I held her, something in my mind shifted and was like, that's enough. You're no longer doing what you did before. You have a child to take care of. You're someone's mother.
Mm,
The mother that I've never had physically.
mm,
That's what my connect was because I don't have a memory. I don't have a sound. I don't have a laugh. I don't have a gesture or a scent that many people have had or they still have. I don't have any of that. So all of that I missed, I'm creating with my daughter. So when they talk about mama bear, I am the true definition of a mama bear because I didn't have it. So I'm engulfed in her. But I tell you, when I saw her, something clicked and that was it. That was it.
Ooh, Ashley, I'm teared up too. That's so beautiful. You talk about something clicked and you even reference, the father saying the way that he stayed and you something. Can you talk to that moment? Like, what did you experience before that you had to say, you know what, I'm cutting all ties with that. I have to be better. I have to do better. Was it something that you just didn't want your daughter to see or talk? Can you talk about that for us?
Yes, sure. It was actually postpartum. Postpartum got me. And I didn't know what was going on because I wasn't surrounded by a community. I didn't have a community when I gave birth. I had my daughter's father and his family, and I wasn't close to them. And I had myself and my best friend who lived in another state. I didn't
Mm,
have anyone. So the community was missing for me that we always talk about in the Black, household. It just wasn't there. And that click was real for me because I didn't want her to experience the trauma that I felt as a child. So I went into protection mode. And then having, as they say, the thoughts during postpartum depression, they were there and they were heavy, but
mm,
no one knew because I harbor my emotions very well. I can meet and greet you, but then I can still smile because I'm a
mm,
professional at it. I've
mm.
been doing it since I've been 5. Ashley, are you okay? Of course
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Internally dying because every single Mother's Day, I don't have that experience. Every single time someone posts a picture with their mother, I don't have that experience. Someone grieving for the loss of their mother after 40 years, I don't have
Mm,
that experience. So
mm,
it definitely was the let me protect my daughter along with the postpartum depression. When the postpartum set in, I didn't know left from right.
mm.
And I didn't do any research on postpartum because I didn't know anything. I
Right.
have support. I don't know what to look for. I don't know how to care for a child because internally, I'm still a child. So the postpartum set in, and one day it got so bad to where I reached out to my line sister and I said, "Hey, I think I need a therapist." And she was like, "Girl, I got you."
Yeah.
So she
Yeah.
connected me with my still current therapist, a 5 year strong,
Mm,
who's probably a best friend at this point because she knows my life.
yeah.
When she connected me to my therapist, that was the moment of transformation for me. When she sat me down and she said, "Ashley, what you're going through, I cannot relate to, but I hear you." And that was all I needed. All I needed for the past 30 plus years of me not knowing anyone was for someone to say, "I don't understand what you're going through, but I hear you." And a lot of people don't understand that, until they're faced with it. But the postpartum, I went through that for 2 years, 2 long years. And I had her literally to the point where my therapist would write things out on a sheet of paper and say, "Study this," because that's how
Mm.
processes. You can tell me one thing, but I need to see it written down, right? I need to be
Yeah.
able to go
Visual.
back, draw a star next to it, then highlight it, and
Yes.
then sit with it. And then my mind will say, "Okay, Ashley, I guess you should be doing this."
Yeah.
So the transformation piece from it clicking in the hospital when I saw her to having postpartum so severely saying, "Ashley, you should reach out to someone before you do such and such and such." And
Yeah.
it was a slight inclination that I had that said, "Ashley, you should make this step." And nobody knew. My best friend didn't know.
Mm.
Uh, my
Yeah.
family didn't know. His family didn't know. He didn't know.
Yeah.
So I was harboring this. And then when I got to the therapist, I just broke down. I
Yeah.
handed her my daughter in the first session and I said, "Just please take her so I
Yeah.
can, I'm
This. Yeah.
sorry, so I can just get myself together."
Mm.
But that started when my daughter was about 6 months, and I'm still going because I'm still changing. So every phase of my life, my therapist has been there to say, "This is a new chapter for you. We're going to shift, but I'm going to walk you through this shift because you didn't have this as a little girl to say, 'Ashley, this is not how you respond in these situations. Ashley, shift your mindset.'" And now that you're an adult, people don't talk about that. They don't, they just assume that because you're older, you should know better. But if
Right.
there's no parent in the household, how do you learn? How do you grow?
Mm.
I just knew survival. I knew survival. I knew how to keep it together. I knew how not to cry. I'm 16 years old planning funerals, picking out clothes, picking out the casket, writing the obituary, 16.
That's what.
And then 18 doing the same thing for my dad. So it was intense.
Yeah.
But, and as I said before, the therapist, the transformation, all of that has been a part of my journey, and it allowed me to excel a lot. So that was
Mm.
my turning point. That was kind of
Oh
long.
no, this is so good, Ashley. And I'm glad that you shared that. I wasn't even gonna go here, but I want to ask you, that postpartum is sneaky. And especially if you don't know about it, you
Oh,
don't
no,
I mean,
you don't know.
I didn't know what it was either. Can you talk
Mhm.
to some of us who may be going through, but we just don't know what it looks like, Ashley?
Yeah. So
Oh.
for me, the postpartum was severe depression, severe to the point where I didn't eat. I would forget to eat.
Mm.
I wouldn't eat. I would be weak, but then I'm also still trying to nurse. And then I had people shoving food down you need to eat, you need to
Yeah.
drink. But it was just severe depression of not wanting to be here,
Mm.
not wanting to do and eat and trying to decide on either aisle. If I'm here, would they care? If I'm not here, would they care?
Yeah.
And that's when I knew I was like, something is going on in my brain that should not be here in this moment. I should
Mm.
not be experiencing this. But it was severe depression. And that depression led to, I lost 30 pounds in a week. Nobody said, oh my God, Ashley, 30 pounds is a lot.
Yeah.
Nobody said that. Everyone was like, wow, like your metabolism is something else. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's great, right? It's great.
Still being strong.
Still nursing.
Yeah. Still.
It was a 30-pound loss physically, and nobody knew. So I would say to women who are experiencing postpartum, some of those experiences look different. Mine was just severe depression, not wanting to eat. There were times where I did not want my baby near me.
Mm.
When I can remember a time the day after I gave birth, it was January the 1st, 2020. Everyone's
Mm.
celebrating, right? Everybody's out partying. I'm in a hospital holding a baby. The father, who knows? But
Mm.
I'm in the hospital with the baby, and the nurse comes in and she's like, would you like me to take your daughter? And I said, please take her away from me. And in
Mm.
that moment, I was like, something's wrong.
Something's wrong.
Something's wrong. I was like, I love my daughter, but I just cannot, I don't want her touching me. And I don't know if it's sensory or what that is, but
Mm-hmm.
her touch to me was too much. I
Mm.
was overwhelmed and I was overstimulated by her cries. I was
Yeah.
overstimulated by her touch. And I had to learn, Ashley, it's okay, but I harbored it. No
Yeah.
one, no one knew because they didn't ask the question.
Yeah.
So I just thought that perhaps if someone would notice that I lost 30 pounds, they would be like, hey, what's happening with you? But
Right.
no one asked. So I held on to that and I just blended in with everyone else saying, oh, I'm happy, I'm great, but suffering. So I
Mm.
suffered internally with depression, the eating, the sensory with my daughter, not wanting her to touch me. It just mentally, it just overstimulated me. I was overwhelmed at the thought of I have these 10 cups in front of me,
Yeah.
and every single cup I have to fill. That's how I looked at it. Look at all these cups, Ashley. You have to nurse her. You have to change her with someone else in the house. You have to eat. You have to bathe. You have to check on her. Is she breathing? And I just saw this line of cups in the front
Mm.
of my face saying, you have to fill every last one of these cups every single day. And that's all I saw. And there were some
Mm.
days where I could fill four, but there were some days where I could fill none. And then
Mm.
depression with
Yeah.
you not filling one cup, it was, I don't know if there's another term for severe grief, but it was lower than that. I was on the ground at that point if I didn't fill that one cup. So
Mm.
women with depression and experiencing postpartum, I would definitely say if you speak up just one time, like all it took was for me to say to my line sister, I think I need therapy. I think I need help. And to have that sister say, I got you. Just all you have to do is take that one step. That's what I would tell women. Take that one step and
Mhm.
somebody will hear you. Somebody will hear you. Yeah, that's it. And that's what it was for me. And it's
Mm.
been her and I have been locked in for 5 years.
I
Strong.
love it.
Had a small celebration when postpartum was done.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh, I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Ashley, because as you said that the postpartum looks so different on different people, and for someone who's listening right now who may be experiencing this, bout of depression or, anxiety, and they don't know what it is. They can't put a name to it. I'm glad that you were able to, share your experience that they might be able to say, you know what, maybe I do need help. Maybe,
And it's okay. It's
yeah.
okay. I thought when I first sat in her office, I was like, there's something wrong with me.
Mm,
But it's okay. It's okay.
yeah.
Especially if you have a really good therapist who asks the right questions. That's what I had
That's
to learn. Because any therapist can put that label and that degree behind their name, but are they asking the right questions to get to you? And
correct.
I had to learn that. I definitely had to learn that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that and bringing us into what that looks like. Now you mentioned therapy being like a big part of your growth. What was the hardest part of these 5 years that you had in therapy?
Learning how to love myself has been a journey because usually that's placed inside of you from your mother, right? She teaches you self care and self love. And it's been such a void for me 30 plus years of my life. That was hard because I always told myself that I wasn't deserving enough to have nicer things in life. I wasn't deserving to have a great relationship. I just told myself that because as a child, no one placed in me that you are deserving. So your mind eventually starts to say, well, I didn't receive this as a child. So I'm just going to go this way because all of my experiences have been negative.
Yeah.
So I would say self love has definitely been a journey. And I had to accept that self love is something you work on daily. In my mind, I thought it was just a switch. Okay, yeah, I love myself. Light clicks on, but
Mm,
you
yeah.
literally have to do the work every single day. So that has been a journey for me. Self discovery has been a journey for me because
Mhm.
I didn't learn what is it that makes me unique. What is it that makes me Ashley? Why am I so special? Having to learn that can be
Mm,
intimidating as an adult because it's like, why can't I answer this question? I should be able to answer this, right? I'm in my 30s, of course.
right.
But again, there are women like myself and men like myself who did not have that as a child. So we're learning all over again. So self discovery and self love. There's been a lot of tears, ugly cries, real
Come on.
ugly
Come on.
me coming off.
Come
I
on.
mean, it's rough. It's rough in therapy, and you can
Yeah.
just be your raw self. But I learned to just accept
Mm,
myself in those moments. And when you sit in it, as my therapist say, Ashley, no, I want you to sit in it. Because every time you feel like that, you're so busy trying to find something to cover it up.
yeah.
So I love it when she says that. At
Mm,
first, it used to make me angry because I'm like, why am I sitting in it? Why that doesn't make any sense to me. But
right.
when I sat still and I acknowledged all of the trauma and the pain and
Mm,
carved through it, then I discovered who I am. I discovered what makes me unique.
beautiful.
I discovered some features about myself that I love. I'm 5'9". I'm slim. Why am I
Oh,
upset?
come on.
'Cause, I'm not trying to go
Mm,
out there and lose 800 pounds, things like
right.
that. So just self
Mm,
love and self care and taking myself on dates and learning about who Ashley is. What is it that I love? What is it that I enjoy? But therapy is work. And a lot of people
yeah.
say, hey, I love change. I love to see people grow in different ways. But will you and are you willing to put in the work?
Mm,
It's not pretty. Yes, it takes time.
yeah.
Yes, every day will look different. So therapy, I don't I don't know. Therapy has been it's
Mm,
been great to me, and I'm an advocate for it too. I
yeah.
advocate for other people. I even tell my students, like, you find a mentor, someone you can relate to, you get that buddy and you hang out with that buddy. So I definitely love advocating for therapy, self-love and self-care. And I'm, in a sense, drilling that into my daughter every day. You love yourself. You're a
Right.
brown girl, because she's only 5. So
Yes, yes. Oh,
mm,
what lies did grief convince you to believe about yourself? And how did you unlearn them?
it convinced me to believe that I wasn't worthy enough, that I deserved every negative thing that happened to me. This is what you deserve. How did I unlearn them? I unlearned them through prayer. I've been praying a lot more. I got closer to God. I can hear him now.
Mm,
So, me leaning in towards God and imagining me just laying nuzzled up under him and crying and bawling my eyes out. And every time I hear a negative thought, I rebuke it. That's not who I am. That's not where I'm going to be. I literally
mm,
had to start in the beginning now. I felt like I was tricking myself into believing something that wasn't true.
yeah.
So it was a mind reset. So all of the negative things that I told myself I wasn't worthy of, all of the negative things that other people would say about me, including family,
Come on.
I accepted that as who I am and my value and my worth.
Mm,
It hadn't been for God, my relationship with him, and therapy, I would be the same person I was 6 years ago. So I had to go through leaning into God and saying, God, what makes me special? I need you to show me what makes me special. And just sitting still, I learned through grief and through going through this process that this is who I am. So unlearning those behaviors, it took a while, but I put the work in. I literally put the work in. Yeah. Journaling, weeding out old friendships that brought bad habits on, weeding out people who speak words of condemnation over me. People who are telling me that, "Oh, Ashley, you can't accomplish this. You'll never be able to do that." Just weeding them out.
yeah.
And then the blow up is even better. So once I do it, I
Come
just
on. Come on.
I just sit back and say, "Well, I guess you were wrong, but
Right.
it was
Watch me work.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah."
I know you said that you speak affirmations and you speak positivity to your daughter, but how has your past shaped the way that you parent today?
My past has helped by I'm more self-aware of what I say to her, because before I would just say whatever I wanted out of my mouth, whatever I thought.
Mm,
Now,
mm,
fast forward 6 years later, I'm mindful of what I say and how I say it. So if I'm speaking positive words into my daughter, it's my tone, it's my delivery. Versus me 6 years ago, I didn't care about tone or delivery. You got what you got.
yeah.
That's how I
Yeah.
that's how I,
That's
you
all I
know,
need to hear. Mm,
that's just how I
mm,
was. But growing, it allowed me to be a more in tune mother. It allowed me to be closer to her in order to make sure I'm the mother she needs me to be at the right time. And I think that's important. So just a combination of all of those things had made me a better mom, and taking advice too from other moms.
yeah.
I'm open, I'm mindful, I'm not shut off to other people's views. I'll think about it and then I'll say, well, how will this affect my daughter? Because it may
Mhm.
work for your child.
Right.
How will it affect my daughter? So that was
Right.
something too that I used to make me a better parent. And then I didn't allow certain outsiders to influence how
Mm,
I parented. So, for example, when you have your daughter, everyone has their views on this is what you should do with the
right.
baby. This actually
Right.
don't do what she's cold. And I'm like, I
That's
think I should
impossible.
make a decision now. I can
Yeah.
I can make this decision.
Yeah.
No, my daughter doesn't need that. I really appreciate you, but no. So
Yeah.
learning to speak up for her when I feel like she needs me, and also speak up for myself, because what I've learned through therapy is when I speak up for when I speak up for my daughter, I'm also speaking up for my inner child. So it's like
Mm,
growth in one, like a 2-in-1
yeah.
in a sense
Mm.
when I do that. So that's been my to and from now.
Oh, this is so beautiful. I'm sorry. Like I'm This is
Yeah.
so good, especially if you are grieving and you are healing, and so many people are a little bit afraid, a little bit hesitant to go to a therapist, but you can actually see someone who has been through it, and now you're sharing a little bit about your journey, and it gives, perhaps someone hope that they too can be healed. Can I just say this? I believe that God uses the purest of us all, which are children, to teach us, to help us heal. In what ways have you seen that your daughter has helped you heal?
Oh my goodness. She's so sweet. She says, and she doesn't know that she's healing my inner child.
Mm.
Every time she says, Mommy, one day I was having a bad day. She was like, Mommy, she put her hand on my shoulder and she was like, You're doing a good job. And she was 3 when she said that. And I was like, It's God. I looked around and I was like, Wow. Because she saw that in that moment, I was almost back in survival mode, trying to figure out which bill needs to, and it was just so much. Those 10
Yeah.
cups lined up in the front of my face. But when my
Mhm.
daughter did that for me, it just, I don't know, it just
Yeah.
melted my heart. I was like, wow, God is real.
Yeah.
Because there's no way this little 3-year-old just did that for me. So it's
Mhm.
like we're pod and she's healing me and I'm growing her. So that's how it looks.
I
That's
love
how it looks
that.
for us.
I love that, out of the mouth of babes. Okay, I wanna move into your professional life. Clearly, I love that you're passionate about education and you, educate not just educators, but also not just students, but also educators. So what drew you to the field in the first place?
So initially, I did not, I just fell into the field because I was working in law enforcement. So I was training
Mhm.
the dispatchers for the state of Florida. I did not think education would ever be a role that I fell into, but one of my friends was a principal. And he
Oh.
was like, Hey, we're hiring. And I was like, Well, I do have a biology degree. And he was like,
Mm.
Have you ever tried using it? And I was like, No. Not really. So I started teaching at a Title I school. So we're talking about students who have low income,
Mhm,
L25s, meaning they're reading maybe 2 to 3 years behind where they should be.
mhm.
And then we're talking about students who have free and or reduced lunch, and they might be on housing too. So I started with that population, which was fine because the kids look like you and I. So I
Oh,
was I was comfortable. I was fine. No
yeah.
problem. And when I fell into teaching, I was like, I love doing this. I like talking to the kids because I had high schoolers. So I was
Oh,
able to give them, I was prepping them, for life.
yeah.
And before I had my daughter, I was doing that. And it was like, okay, I'm preparing these kids for their future. Now, granted, I didn't have the background with someone preparing me for college and for future. So when
Right.
I found that niche and I was like, wow, I can really give back in a space that I don't have any real experience in. So
Wow.
when I started educating, I just fell in love with the kids. I love them. And then
Mm.
I started working more with the teachers and doing curriculum development and curriculum writing. And it became fun. And then I rolled over and I got my master's of science degree.
Come on.
Mhm.
Come
Yeah.
on. I love that. Congratulations, Ashley.
Thank
I
you. Thank you.
love that full circle story,
Mhm.
how you were able to, be a figure, maybe perhaps to a teen who don't have what you didn't have.
Yes, yes, definitely, definitely.
And then it rolled over to then now you're helping educate, educators. And to
Yes,
I could see the full
yes,
circle.
yes.
Man,
Mhm.
now do you believe that sometimes God uses those things that you went through that was hard and dark and lonely to help you to educate other people and what to look for, how to help them out of that space that they're in? Do you feel that, your experience has helped shape some of those?
I do, and you know what? It's funny how God works because I now can look at a student and identify that student is going through depression, something's going on. It's like developing a third eye. So I can sense it and I can see it. And then immediately when I sense it and see it, I immediately pull them aside and I just start to dig a little bit. Hey, how's your weekend? It was fine. No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
You're not being honest. I
Mm.
know it's like developing like a third eye. So with the students knowing that Miss Reese can sniff that out any day now, they're more open to expressing to me. So I have like a multitude of 100+ kids that are my kids now that come to me frequently to talk. They'll keep in contact even after they graduate from school. Miss Reese, guess what? I got into college. I didn't think I was going to get in with a 2.5, but I tried and I kept trying
Mm.
when they rejected me. So just hundreds of years worth of students coming back saying, thank you for listening, Miss Reese. Thank you for being my favorite teacher.
Wow.
So, it's been very impactful. And now I'm, thinking back over it, I didn't realize how God was using me. And I didn't think that the role that I was in was as important as everyone else in the world. I just felt like,
Mm.
okay, well, I'm a teacher, but I didn't realize that I was impacting the future. So God really does work in ways that I don't
Mm.
know, we just can't see. We just can't see. And you don't see it until it's over.
Mm.
So we're
Yeah.
preparing now for graduation. My seniors are graduating next month in 3 weeks. So we're prepping for cap and gown right now, and I'm getting them ready. And I'm like, all right, you're going out into the real world. Can't sleep. You have to get a job around here. So just prepping them for the future. I
Yeah.
love that of education, especially when they're going into a second step or a different area of life. I love that. It's a great experience.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Ashley, you are so beautiful. And I love the way you just put that together. And you're absolutely right. Yeah, I think about, going back to your story and, you during that time in your life, you were going through so much. And I don't know, did you have a teacher? Did you have somebody in your life to just hold you together at that moment? Just talk about cap and gown, talk about real life.
I didn't. In high school, when I lost my stepmom, I didn't. My dad passed away 5 months before I graduated from high school. My family, now that I look back over it, I believe that my family provided me with what they were capable of. They were
Mm.
capable of saying, Ash, are you okay? That was it.
Yeah.
They were capable of saying, Ash, what do you want to do in life? Do you want to go to college? They weren't capable of filling out the paperwork for me. Definitely not. When I tell you,
Mm.
I don't know, God's hand was on me and I didn't
Yeah.
realize it because I didn't have anyone. I didn't have anyone to lean on in high school. I didn't have anyone to really lean on in college. It's just been Ashley, survival mode.
Mm.
That's been it. And I
Yeah.
accepted that way of life for years
Yeah.
until I met my daughter. No, but now that I get to give that back to my students, something in my heart is
Woo.
it just fills up because it's like, yeah, everything you went through, everything you didn't experience, you're now giving it to someone else. So it's okay that your cup wasn't full.
Yeah.
You're still pouring into someone else.
Yeah.
But now that you're an adult and you've surrounded yourself in a community, that cup that was empty is no longer empty. So now I'm pouring from a place of support. My daughter was just christened a couple months ago. She has
Oh,
support, just lining her up. I
yeah.
have friends that pour into me now that are close to me that know Ashley. I haven't heard from you today, girl.
That's
What you
good.
have going on? Are you
Yeah.
okay? Just friends who are consistent. And I
Mm.
didn't realize how important consistency was.
Yeah.
And I can give that to my seniors, check in with my seniors every
Yeah.
single day. Hey, did you do such and such what I asked you to do yesterday or last week? No. Okay, well, let's do it together. So
Mm.
being their support and now having a community behind me, it just came around like full circle. It was beautiful. It's
I
beautiful now.
love that,
Yeah.
Ashley. I love it. Oh, I like that. These are the stories that need to be told.
Mhm.
It's full circle story, and man, I would love. You should do like something. You get all your seniors and your now college students, and get them to come
College students
back and do like
together. It's
season.
been 10 plus years. I wouldn't even know where to start with those little babies, but it's been it's been 10 plus years. And now that I have my little golden nugget, I'm preparing her. She's entering kindergarten. So
Yeah.
my anxiety is like, okay, let me prepare her. She's ready. She's like, Mom, I'm a big girl. I'm a
Yeah.
big girl. Kind of just
Oh,
choosing.
I love it. I love it. Okay. What does creating meaningful learning experiences look like to you?
A creative, meaningful experience looks like some way, form, or fashion that I could impact them in their future and that they would never forget me. So if I'm able to impact your child in a positive way and your child can remember me 20, 30 years later, I know that I did my job and I'm okay. I'm okay. And that could look like me helping your child with their college application, me
Mm,
helping your child. Hey, teaching your child how to communicate is something that I found in our community. Teaching them how to communicate with their other teachers. Because what I've noticed is our children won't speak up for themselves. They'll just fail a class and just be like, she doesn't like me.
yeah.
And they'll be okay and they'll walk away from it. But teaching them this is not the proper way you communicate with a teacher. You wait till that classroom is empty. And then you go up to that teacher and you say, Miss or Sir, I need help. Can you help me? Now, if your teacher's open enough, the teacher say, of course, I was waiting on you. Or if
Mm,
the teacher just shoves you away, we'll take it from a different angle.
right.
But our children, they don't know how to communicate properly to other adults.
That's true.
They might know how to communicate to their parents, but to other adults, they don't know how to advocate for themselves. If they don't understand the lecture, they'll just bypass it. Oh, I didn't get it. I'm just going to fail. And I'm going to keep failing and I'm okay with it. So
Mm,
that's been an area of mine that's actually very sensitive to me. Um,
mm,
I want to learn why our children are okay with failure. They're okay with saying I don't know, and it's okay that I don't know. It's okay that I'm choosing to continue to live this way instead of fighting change and oppression. They're just okay.
that's
They'll
true.
just settle. So
True.
that's been a big part for me, and I love doing that in our kids, just sitting still with them, 5
Mm.
minutes, taking up their lunch, and I get all in their face. I'll go in the cafeteria and sit right next to them. "This, you're just too close. I need 50 feet." "No, I'm all up in your face. I need to know what's going on with you. Just talk. Just let it out."
Mm.
So, yeah.
I love that. I need to be in your school. I would love this. And which is why I hear you saying that you not only teach students, but you teach educators as well. It
Yes.
that is
Mhm,
huge. That's a huge piece.
mhm,
That's
mhm.
a huge piece. You guys probably.
Educators are students too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Educators are students. We don't know everything. There are times where we sit in rooms with the person at the head of the table, and I may know more information than they do, but I'm not going to harbor it. I'm not going to,
Mm, mm,
keep information from them. But I think if we walk into tables like that and we're just open and honest with ourselves that, hey, we don't know this information, everybody's open to learn in that moment. And it's
yeah,
okay that you don't know. This is why we have learning and development
that-
as educators. This
yeah,
is why we have thousands of training courses because we don't know the answer to everything.
yeah.
And I think accepting that and then teaching our children that it'll open the door more for the future for us. Yeah.
Ooh, Ashley, I can see a book on this so much. I mean,
Thought about it.
you
I thought about it,
should.
but I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet. I started
Oh,
writing a memoir actually about
mm.
my childhood, so I'm not sure. We'll see where God takes me. I don't
I
know.
can see it coming full circle. I mean, what you're saying right now is so good. That so many people can learn from it, and you approach it at
Mhm,
so many different angles, especially with our youth.
mhm.
I believe our youth, they relate to those that they can relate to. That's it.
Yes.
I mean, you can't fake it. You can't learn it. It can't be taught. You can't get a degree for it. They relate to you because you relate to them.
Yes, yes. And I think too, because my students think for some reason that I'm younger than what I am. So when I tell them my age, when I'm like, no, I'm 39, they're like, you're old.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how dare you? I was born in the 80s. What do you mean?
What are you talking about? Right, right.
So I think when they realize
Mm,
that, yeah, Miss Reese is a little older, but she's cool. I could talk to her about she's not gonna judge me. I always tell them I'm not gonna judge you. Your beliefs may be different from mine, but I can't judge you. I've done some things in my life I'm not proud of. All I'm trying to do is steer you in the right direction. You're going to fall.
mm,
You're
mm,
going to fail sometimes, and it's okay. Let's just figure out what that looks like after you get up. So I always try
mm.
to remind them of that. What does it look like when you get up? Because I can remember what it looked like when I finally got up. It was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough. and that's
Mm.
okay. Yeah.
Oh, I love that about you. Okay. I want to ask you, I want you to look back, do a little bit of reflection. Could you speak to if you could speak to your younger self, the little girl who felt alone, what would you tell her?
I actually had to write a letter to myself. My therapist made me do it, asking the same question. Uh, if I were to look back over my life, I would tell myself, Ashley, despite what the circumstances are, God will never leave you. You're going to make it. It's going to be tough, but you're going to make it. And I think if someone would have instilled that into me, my direction would have looked a little differently. But even if I had to go back 15, 20 years later, I would have loved myself differently. I would have shown up for myself differently. But yeah, just constant reminding myself that the future is going to be tough, but you're not going to stay down for long. You know, you've been knocked down, but I promise you, it's going to look different from you.
Mm.
So, yeah, that's what I would tell myself.
I love that. I love that. I feel like you're reflecting on that note right there.
Yeah,
The letter you
yeah.
wrote to yourself.
Reflection piece. Yeah, it's a reflection piece because it was so much. It was so much grief. It was so much death. As a child,
Yeah,
it was
it's a lot.
it was a lot. It was a lot, and it was no having lack of support,
Hmm.
not knowing who you are, trying to figure out who you are, trying to navigate life, trying to become an adult, not knowing who you are. It's
Right.
also um, pretty difficult, but it's been, I don't even have the words. I think when I think about my life as a whole, if I just pause right now and I'm 39, I would look at every 5 years as a mile marker. When I was 5, when I was 10, the people that God
Mm.
placed in, as I continued to grow and I continued to develop a relationship with God, my relationships as a whole changed because the people that I have in my life now showed up because I leaned on God. So these mile markers for me have been major. It's been life changing. All I had to do was stop and stand still and just lean on God. But I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have known that. So I'm still giving myself grace in that area
Yeah.
for that. But
Mm. I love
yeah.
to every
Reflect.
to every mile marker that you get to, it's almost like God has strategically placed someone there waiting on you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
whether
God.
you see it or not, has been pulling you all this way.
Yes,
And I also say to this, even the people that you have that has left you or you have
mhm,
left has been the driving force that was pushing you towards your
yes,
next as well. Oh, I can
yes,
see it. Oh my God.
yes. It also pushed me this
Mm.
past January. I did Daniel's fast for the first time in
You
my life.
did.
I
Oh
thought I
my
was
God.
gonna die
I
the
bet
first
you
7 days. It's like if I don't eat no chicken, it's gonna be over.
did.
But I did the 21-day fast and I was
Mm.
so proud of myself because that was the first time I said, Ashley, you don't lack discipline. You got it.
You got this.
You have discipline.
Yeah.
Like it was like, I don't know. For me, I don't, people have different experiences when they experience the Daniel fast, but I literally built my relationship with God. Everything that I loved and that I held on to tightly, that I was afraid of giving up on, I let it go. And then after I let it go, I was like, wait a minute, it wasn't even that bad. Why was I over exaggerating? I'm over here on a phone call with a therapist every single day.
Mm.
And I'm like, actually, all you had to do was lean in. All you had to do was lean in and fast and
Mm.
pray. So going through that fast projected me. It just shot me in a different way.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Oh
It was beautiful.
wow. I love that. I love that. And I'll tell you one thing, even after talking to you for this time, you do not lack discipline, that's for sure. I want to ask you.
No, again, it goes back to one of your original questions. That's what I was telling myself. I was
Mhm.
telling myself that I lack discipline. I lack self-esteem. This is something that the enemy used against me mentally, especially doing postpartum.
Mm.
So I
Mm.
had to go through Daniel's fast in order to get to God. And
Mm.
I'm okay with the results.
I, I know. I love a good fast, though. That Daniel fast. Look, I would not recommend y'all just jump into the Daniel fast, but hey, listen, if
Yeah,
you
this
gotta
will be my first fast. I was like, am I gonna make it? 21 days.
do a long
And
time.
listen, by day 10, I said, Lord, if I eat another potato, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna meet you sooner than I wanna meet you. I can't even look at a potato right now. If I eat another potato or another grain, uh-uh. I said I can't do it. I thought I was going crazy. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. But then day 12, 13, I just
They're
coasted.
getting better.
I just coasted.
Yep.
Yeah. I was like, you know what? It's not even about the food. It's about the consecration of me sitting with
Yeah.
God. It's about prayer.
Yeah.
It's not about me, me, me. And I had to learn that. But the Daniel's fast, whew,
It'll teach you. So I love a good
yeah.
fast. I still, sometimes I find myself, I still fast now. I don't
Really?
eat. I literally, I don't eat till about 3 o'clock, Monday through Friday. And then I stop eating like after 7 or 8 in Monday through Friday. But why, I can't even tell you why. I want to stop, but I can't. Like, I feel like, especially, and can I just tell you, some of the y'all who are maybe contemplating a fast, if you feel that you're just like on the cusp of God is about to show you something, He's about to reveal something to you, and if you're like me, I'm just like, Lord, show me,
Put it
help
on the table.
me. I will do whatever you want. Like, we gotta fast, we gotta do this. But it helps, and as like you said, it brings you closer to the presence of God.
It
And
does.
it also helps you lean in and let go. And let
Yes.
go. Oh my God, letting go has been so hard for me, but I have done it. I want to ask you, what legacy do you hope to leave as a mother and an educator?
Resilience. I want my legacy to be about transformation and resilience.
Mm,
If my students can remember that about me, they will say, Miss Reese never gave up. Miss Reese always showed us a different route to take. Miss Reese always showed up for me.
mm,
Miss Reese helped me when they didn't want to help me because of what I
mm,
looked like. Miss Reese figured it out. My mom showed up for every single event, even when she was sick.
mm,
My mom transformed into a new person just for me. She transformed into a new person so I could have a better life. My mom transferred into a better person so that she could have a better life.
mm,
So those are the things, that's what I want my daughter to see. My mom is putting in the work to be a better person. My mom is putting in the work to put me in a different lifestyle.
mm.
So that's what I want to leave behind for my daughter.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
so beautiful.
students. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Mhm.
Okay, Ashley, thank you so much for coming and pouring at this well. It has been such a pleasure speaking with you. Your spirit is so
Yes.
beautiful.
Thank you.
It,
Thank
it,
you.
it lights up this whole entire room, and I hope that it reaches the hearts of some of those who are listening who need to hear it the most. Before I let you go, I want you to tell us what's next for you personally and professionally, that you're just excited about.
So I don't know. I can't tell you what's next because that was one thing I gave up, control. So I don't know. I am allowing God to drive and I'm in the passenger seat. So I don't know where He wants me. So I released all self control and I'm letting God steer. I'm hoping it's in the area of leadership and development with a company, a banking company, or even healthcare in that direction. But
Mm,
I put in those resumes and then I took my hands off of them. So wherever God puts me, then I know that's where He wants me to be. So I'm just
mm.
waiting. I'm just waiting on God at this point. I'm telling Him, show me.
Show
At
me.
this point, you show me, show up.
Mm,
So yeah.
I love that so much. Okay, Ashley, where can we find you on social media?
Find me at the Reese Cup.
Oh,
The Reese Cup on Instagram or Reese J59 on Instagram also.
I love it. Love it. Love it. And hopefully you get to get around the leaning back in on this book. I could just see it being able to bless so many lives.
I will. I've
Mm.
started, so we'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
where God. I mean, my goal is September. My birthday's in September, so
Mm.
we will see if I can have it released and published by then. That is my goal. That's
Yeah.
my goal. It'll be a short memoir, something short that
Mm.
people could
To
take
lean
with
back
me.
in.
Go, yeah, yeah. And maybe I can be an inspiration for another single mom or someone who's struggling with postpartum or
Mhm.
self-esteem as an adult.
Right.
Maybe I could, at
And
some
with
point.
and grief. And
And
grief.
grief. Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Grief is
Yep.
tough.
But look, I see such a bright future for you, Ashley. I'm excited. Even hearing what you said about what's next for you, man, I feel it in my spirit. I really do. But I'll leave that alone. We can talk off air. But I want to thank you so much for coming and pouring it as well. Ladies, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to this amazing episode. I want to thank my guest, Ashley Reese, for coming and pouring. You talk about God bringing people, putting people in your lives to help
Mhm.
pour into you because you pour out so much.
Those
God,
mile markers.
look, come on. Keep pushing forward. There's going to be an Ashley there waiting to support into you, just like perhaps you poured into someone else. Okay,
Mhm.
ladies, thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the One Witness podcast. And perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this to write, to tell your story, your truth. Until next time, bye bye, y'all.